Welcome to this presentation on the registration process for internationally educated agrologists in Manitoba. This presentation is designed to help people educated outside of Canada to understand what agrology is and how to qualify for professional registration in Manitoba. In this presentation, I will provide some background information on the field of agrology, as well as on the Manitoba Institute of Agrologists. I will then focus on the registration process to apply for registration as an agrologist in Manitoba. I will discuss the following questions within this presentation. What is the field of agrology in Canada? What is the role of the Manitoba Institute of Agrologists? What are the eligibility requirements to register as an agrologist in Manitoba? What is the application and registration process? What documents are needed? What are the potential outcomes of this process? And what training programs and other resources are available to support internationally educated agrologists? As you are viewing this presentation, it will be helpful to visit the Manitoba Institute of Agrologists website to view more information about each of these questions, as well as to access the resources described within this presentation. You can access this website at mia.mb.ca. What are agrologists? Agrologists provide sustainable, science-based solutions and advice in agriculture and the environment. Agrologists help provide consistent and safe food for Manitobans. They manage and preserve natural resources such as land and water, and agrologists help to protect the environment. Agrologists are professional advisors. Many types of work fit within the agrology profession. Professional advisors work and solve problems in areas such as crop development and production management, livestock production and development, biofuels, fiber and energy, agricultural economics and trade, health and nutrition products, agri-environment and ecology, biosystems engineering, soil and land conservation and reclamation, irrigation planning, and soil science. Consider your own background in this field. Which of these categories best describes your background and experience? Because the profession of agrology is regulated in Manitoba, there is a legal definition of this field, which can be found within the Agrologists Act of Manitoba. According to this act, practicing agrology includes every act with or without reward which has its objective in the experimentation with or the giving of advice with respect to the principles, laws, or practices relating to the production, improvement, use, processing, or marketing of agriculture products, crops, or livestock. The word advice is very important to note within this definition. Agrology is a self-regulated profession not only in Manitoba but in the rest of Canada as well. The Agrologist Act of Manitoba, which was mentioned in the previous slide, gives the Manitoba Institute of Agrologists, or MIA for short, the authority to regulate the profession in Manitoba. Each province has its own regulator and registration requirements. To work as an agrologist in Manitoba, you must be registered with MIA even if you have a university degree in agriculture or have worked as an agrologist in another country. Licensure and registration is mandatory if you provide recommendations or give technical advice in agriculture and environmental areas to individuals such as farmers, government, or within a company. So how do you register as an agrologist and obtain your license? You need to register with the regulatory body, and in Manitoba, the regulatory body is the Manitoba Institute of Agrologists, or MIA, as we often refer to it in this field. What is the role of the Manitoba Institute of Agrologists? As the self-regulatory organization for agrologists in Manitoba, MIA manages the registration, qualification recognition, and licensing processes for all agrologists. More specifically, the role of MIA is to set requirements and standards for registration of and practice by members, provide governance and oversight to members, establish and maintain standards of ethics with which all members must comply, hold members accountable to the public and to the profession through a transparent process of review, complaints investigation, and discipline, and provide continuing education about the practice of agrology to the public, employers, clients, and members. This is what MIA does as a regulator in Manitoba. Why should you know about MIA? If you are seeking employment in the field of agrology in Manitoba or anywhere else in Canada, you need to be registered. Registration is a tool that helps manage risk and helps to manage public expectations. Registered employees provide a level of confidence that they are experts in their field of practice, that they are required to demonstrate continuous professional development, and that there is a high level of personal accountability. Registered agrologists and their employers may benefit from the labor market mobility provisions of the Agreement on Internal Trade, so that employees do not have to requalify in order to work in another province. If you are already registered as an agrologist in another province in Canada, then please contact MIA for more information about the process for transferring your registration to Manitoba. You should now have a better understanding about the field of agrology in Canada, as well as the role of the Manitoba Institute of Agrologists. Now let's examine the 3 different agrology designations in Manitoba and the eligibility requirements for registration for each of these designations. There are 3 designations of agrologists in Manitoba. The first level is Agrologist in Training, or AIT for short. You must first register as an AIT. AIT registration allows you to work legally as an agrologist in Manitoba. Once registered as an AIT, you must complete additional requirements to gain full status and either the title of Professional Agrologist or Technical Agrologist in Manitoba. On the next slides, we are going to describe the education standards and the other requirements needed to successfully transfer your previous training and competencies to the Manitoban and Canadian agrology job sector. First, let's take a look at the requirements to be eligible for registration as a professional agrologist, or PAG for short. To be eligible for registration as a professional agrologist, you need to meet these 4 requirements. First, applicants must have a science degree from a recognized university. Second, this degree has to include a minimum of 120 credits. Third, 60 out of the 120 credits must be in the field of agrology. Finally, a fully complete application includes the self-disclosure form, application form, and application fee. All of these must be submitted. The requirements for technical agrologists are similar. They include the following 4 criteria. First, you must have a diploma from a recognized university or college. Second, the diploma has to include a minimum of 60 credits. Third, 45 out of the 60 credits must be within the field of agrology. Fourth, you must submit a fully complete application, which includes the self-disclosure form, the application form, and the application fee. To successfully transfer your skills to Manitoba, MIA needs to know that you understand how to solve problems in agrology in Manitoba, that you have well-developed English language communication skills, and Canadian or Manitoban experience in the agriculture or environment sector. People who are not educated in Canada need to be able to demonstrate that they know how to practice as an agrologist in Manitoba. There may be a gap between what you know and what you need to know. Additional formal education and courses with outcomes aimed at solving problems in the Manitoba context, working in agrology under the supervision of an experienced agrologist, and gaining first-hand knowledge and experience with the processes, laws, regulations, and systems that apply to the production agriculture, food, and environment sectors in Manitoba will help you fill that gap. This gap can be filled in one of two ways: through the Internationally Educated Agrologists Post-Baccalaureate Diploma Program, or IEAP, delivered by the University of Manitoba, or through an individualized gap training plan organized between the applicant and MIA. We'll describe these two options a little later in this presentation. If you think you meet the eligibility requirements, then we would encourage you to continue with the registration process with MIA. I'll explain more about each of these requirements in the following slides, including how you prove that you meet these requirements. We will also review the documents needed to verify each requirement. There are 5 steps in the registration process as an internationally educated agrologist with MIA. The first step is AIT application. You must complete the Agrologist in Training application for registration. The second step is a review by MIA. MIA will conduct a preliminary review of your application. For step 3, assessment, the Admission and Registration Committee will fully assess your application and make a decision. Step number 4 is that MIA will inform you of the decision. The 5th and final step is to pursue full status. Once you are registered as an AIT, you must complete the other requirements, including gap training, to become registered as a professional agrologist or technical agrologist. Although we will describe the registration process in detail in this presentation, we would also recommend that you visit the Manitoba Institute of Agrologists website at iep.mia.mb.ca. There are a number of resources on the website that will be helpful to you as you gain an understanding of the role of the MIA, the work of agrologists in Manitoba, and finally, the registration process for internationally educated agrologists. The first step in the registration process with MIA is to complete the Agrologist in Training application. This involves 4 sub-steps. The first sub-step is to complete the application form. Next, you must complete the self-disclosure form. Third, you must verify your education through a course-by-course assessment with the World Education Services, or WES for short. And finally, when you submit this application, you must also pay the non-refundable initial application fee of $125, which is subject to change. Let's take a look at each of these sub-steps in greater detail. The first sub-step is to complete the application form. You can find the application form and the self-disclosure forms online at the MIA website at mia.mb.ca. When you visit the website, select the Internationally Educated Agrologists icon. That's the image at the top of this slide on the right. Then, from the navigation bar that you can see on the top of this page, select Become Registered, followed by AIT Application. On this page, there will be a link to both the application form and the self-disclosure form, which is needed for sub-step 2. You can either complete these forms online or select the downloadable forms to complete. The second sub-step of the AIT application is the self-disclosure form. As I mentioned, this form is available for download online with the application form. The self-disclosure form requires you to disclose information about your previous experiences with registration as an agrologist. The questions you will need to respond to on this form include the following. Are you or have you ever been registered to practice agrology in another province in Canada? Have you ever been suspended or disciplined by any provincial organizational body? Have you ever applied for and been refused admission to practice agrology in any other province in Canada? Have you ever been ordered not to practice agrology in any province? Has your credential, certificate, permit, or license to practice, whether in Canada or in another country, been denied, suspended, or cancelled? Is your certification to practice currently under investigation in another Canadian province? And have you ever voluntarily or involuntarily surrendered your credential, certificate, permit, or license to practice in another province? It's very important to complete this form truthfully and accurately. The third sub-step of the AIT application is the verification of your education credentials, including assessment of courses you have completed. MIA requires a comprehensive course-by-course credential evaluation service provided by World Education Services Canada. MIA has partnered with WES to obtain the right credential evaluation for admission and registration. With the WES credential evaluation, MIA has a secure way of receiving verified documents that are evaluated correctly. The WES course-by-course evaluation confirms details of your education, including course equivalencies to the Canadian standards. In your WES application, please indicate that a copy of the evaluation should be sent directly to MIA. MIA should be the valid third-party recipient of the report. MIA will automatically be notified and will receive the report once your WES credential assessment has been completed. If you do not indicate MIA as third-party recipient, your file will be delayed. To apply for the WES evaluation, go to www.wes.org/ca/apply. Instructions on official documents can be obtained online from this website. In a limited number of circumstances, MIA may allow a course-by-course evaluation from another education and evaluation service. If you have already applied for or have acquired a course-by-course credential evaluation from another education and evaluation service, such as the International Qualification Assessment Service or the International Credential Assessment Service, please contact MIA immediately. To review, there are 4 sub-steps to the AIT application. They are the completed application form, the completed self-disclosure form, the education verification through World Education Services, and finally, the payment of the non-refundable initial application fee. Step number 2 is the review of your documents and application by MIA. Upon receipt of all the required documents, MIA will conduct a preliminary review of your application. Once MIA has all the required documents, the Admission and Registration Department will assess which gap training option appears to be most appropriate for you. They will send you an email with your preliminary assessment and recommendations for gap training. Prior to the decision and during the assessment period, if MIA needs more information, they will contact you. MIA will contact you to discuss the gap training. They will have 2 options to discuss with you. Number 1 is the Internationally Educated Agrologist Post-Baccalaureate Diploma Program, or IEAP, which is offered at the university. Option number 2 is a gap training plan other than the IEAP that is acceptable both to you and MIA. Step number 3 is assessment. The MIA Admissions and Registration Committee will fully assess your agrologist in training application to determine if your education meets Canadian standards. Once the assessment is complete, the MIA Admission and Registration Committee will inform you of their decision. The Admission and Registration Committee meets in February, May, July, and November. Required documents must be received approximately 30 days prior to the decision meeting of the ARC. Step number 4 is the decision by MIA. There are 2 possible outcomes or decisions from this process. If you meet the minimum admission requirements, MIA will mail you a decision package that has all the information you need for the next steps in your process. The next steps include paying the annual registration fee. If you do not meet the minimum requirements, MIA will mail you a letter that includes the reasons for the decision and what you can do to have the decision reconsidered. Step number 5 is to pursue full status. Now that you are registered as an agrologist in training, you must pursue full status with MIA. Several additional tasks must be completed, including a special seminar on jurisprudence and ethics, attending the annual meeting of the MIA, and completing what are known as professional development credits. You will also need to work with a mentor. You will be provided with all the details about these tasks at the appropriate time. As you continue along your registration journey, there are a number of resources and supports available to assist you in this process. Let's examine some professional supports, settlement supports, and language supports now. There are several financial supports that may be available to internationally educated agrologists as they follow the registration process with MIA. They are Employment Manitoba, Seed Winnipeg's Recognition Counts program, Manitoba Student Aid, and CanLearn. Employment Manitoba delivers a full range of employment and training services to residents of Manitoba. Internationally educated professionals in need of assistance to re-enter their professions may be eligible for financial supports to help pay for costs such as tuition, books, and living expenses. To learn more about these supports and eligibility requirements, please visit an Employment Manitoba Centre in person. Another financial support available is the Recognition Counts program through Seed Winnipeg. Recognition Counts is a program that provides supports to skilled immigrants wishing to work in their fields of expertise in Manitoba. The program offers career and financial counseling, as well as the opportunity to apply for a loan up to $10,000 to help with the costs associated with gaining employment in a profession or trade. To learn more, visit their website at www.recognitioncounts.ca. Manitoba Student Aid is a supplemental financial assistance program for Manitobans who do not have sufficient resources to pay for their post-secondary education on their own. They provide various types of funding on behalf of Manitoba Student Aid Program and Canada Student Loans Program and grants programs. This funding includes repayable government student loans and non-repayable grants and bursaries. All applications are assessed to determine eligibility and financial need. Finally, CanLearn is the source for interactive information and tools designed to help you save, plan, and pay for post-secondary education. We've shared some important organizations and programs in this slide, and we would encourage you to research them further. You can access the links through the MIA website. There are also many valuable settlement supports, language assessment and training programs, and labor market and employment supports that may be important to access as you settle in Manitoba. We've shared some important organizations and programs in this slide as well, and we would encourage you to research them further. If you have any questions at any time during this process, please contact us. We recommend email contact so that we can be sure to understand and respond to your specific questions and concerns. Good luck on your registration journey. This presentation has been developed with the support of Employment and Social Development Canada and Manitoba Labour and Immigration.